This is the day, this is the day that we win the league, that we win the league. We will rejoice and get mad with it, and get mad with it. This is the day that we win the league. We will rejoice and get mad with it. This is the day that we win the league. This is the day. Apologies you had to put up with my singing there. I was very close to ditching that 5 seconds in, but I persisted, a bit like Celtic this season. I'm just in a fabulous mood because today is the day we win the league. We're away to Kilmarnock tonight, knowing that a victory or a draw will seal 3 in a row. And if that doesn't put a smile on your face, I don't know what will. We've got a jam-packed video for you today. So much chat ahead of the game. Some interesting Brendan Rodgers quotes on the future. Some news about tributes to a Celtic and a Kilmarnock great ahead of the game tonight. And we even got a 10-minute chat with my pal Callum, who's a Kilmarnock fan, to get his thoughts ahead of the match. But we start with our sponsor.
This video is brought to you by John Lundstrom, making Celtic dreams come true.
You think this is unfunny? We're only on day 3 of John Lundstrom being the sponsor. You've got a whole summer ahead of this patter that's completely ripped already. So brace yourself. We thought last night was going to be the night. Dundee led 2-0 at Ibrox. At that stage, Rangers needed 3 goals to just stop us being champions last night. They got 5. Ended up winning 5-2 to reduce the gap to 3 points. That doesn't really matter because it's very much in our hands. As I say, a draw or a win tonight will do the job. And 3,835 Celtic fans will be partying in the Chadwick stand at Rugby Park, and there'll probably be a good few more hundred, if not thousands, dotted around the rest of the stadium. It promises to be a very fun night, and we're going to chat about all of that. First of all, though, the answers to yesterday's teaser. You were all just absolutely chomping at the bit to get your answers in. I don't think we even got one comment relating to this. But anyway, this was a question, first of all, actually. Not including Celtic Park. Celtic have clinched a league title at 5 different grounds this century. Can you name them? The answers are Rugby Park 3 times ahead of tonight, Tannadice twice, Tynecastle twice, Pittodrie and Firhill. Yeah, plenty of memorable ones in there. We had Naka's late free kick in 2007, Gordon Strachan's water bottle that's probably still not even landed, the title for Tommy on that Thursday night at Tannadice in 2008, Tynecastle under Brendan Rodgers in the Invincible season. We had another night at Tannadice in 2022 under Ange, and of course last season at Tynecastle as well. I even remember the night at Firhill in 2014 being a pretty memorable one. I seem to remember Liam Henderson scoring in that one. As you can see, Rugby Park features strongly on the list. Who can forget the glorious Easter Saturday in 2012 when we battered Killie 6-0 to win our first league title in 4 years. So yeah, let's hope the stadium is getting another entry tonight. Dyson Maida certainly expects that to be the case. Yeah, funny tweet from him yesterday. Tweeted to tell fans, "We will be champions tomorrow." And the fact that he was quoting a tweet from the official club account telling him he'd made the team of the week makes it even funnier. We've got plenty more to say about the game, but first of all, let's hear the Killie view on things. Early this morning for me, I caught up with my pal Callum from Forever and Ever, the Killie Fans podcast, to hear how he's feeling ahead of the game. And I started by asking him all about his team's impressive campaign.
At the beginning of the season, we obviously you wanted just any kind of progress. And last year was a slog. There's no getting away for that. I mean, to just avoiding the playoffs in the last day of the season, and the away record last year was pitiful, to be honest. But we set the tone early on. I mean, well, the recruitment and that was excellent. Some of the business that McInnes was able to do in the summer, just kind of experienced guys, bring like Stuart Finlay back to the club and stuff like that. Folk that know the club, Marley Watkins, we'll maybe talk about him later on. The season he's had has been incredible, totally exceeded expectation. But I mean, the season got after a flyer with the win against Rangers, and that really set the tone. And the start we had the season, we obviously beat Celtic as well in the League Cup. Drew at Tynecastle in our first 3 games, and you're thinking, geez, where will we end up finishing here? But then I think we went 4 or 5 weeks maybe without a win, and kind of come back down to earth. And then I think the 2nd of December was the last time a team out with Rangers beat us in the league, and that was Hearts at Rugby Park. They beat us 1-0. And from then on, it's been 3 defeats, and both all 3 of them have been to Rangers. Unfortunately, I think in any of the 3, I think it's harsh. I think we could have picked up points in any of the 3 games, but to get 3 losses for them was disappointing, pretty undeserved. But that just shows the consistency of the team and the run we've been on, and to secure 4th with 2 games to go is just unbelievable stuff for dreams. So it's been a great season to be a Kelly fan.
Yeah, amazing stuff. So as you say, you're going to finish 4th. That's already confirmed. Is there going to be much motivation, do you think, in this fixture against Celtic?
I mean, obviously we've seen with Rangers winning earlier on that the title race is still alive and all but name, really, to be honest. So it's one of those. It's the home record that they want to hang on to, and Derek McInnes as well. I mean, he would obviously love nothing more than to get one against Celtic, and we've obviously won twice at Rugby Park against you so far this season, and we performed well at Parkhead as well. But I think that, I mean, the hard work is done. I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see a few changes to the team. I think that maybe a few of the players are running on empty. Maybe some of them are potentially playing through injuries and stuff now to get us that 4th place secured. We can't go up, we can't go down now for the position we're in. So it wouldn't surprise me to see us maybe make a few changes for tomorrow night. But again, I could easily say that, and it could be the consistency in the starting 11's been there for the last 7-8 weeks, which was a big criticism of McInnes last year, to be honest. They kept picking a different team, whereas now you can list them off 1 to 11 almost every week. So it could go either way, but I still think the motivation's there to see off the home record. Again, I've just spoke about that one, 3 defeats for the 2nd of December, or 3 against Rangers. So Kelly will be still hoping to pick up points when Celtic come to play us tomorrow night.
There'll be a big Celtic support there as always. We won't get into the whole away allocation stuff. Are you expecting many Celtic fans in the home end? Has there been much chat about that? Because there normally is with these kind of things.
No, I think that sometimes it's unavoidable. The club have obviously done fantastic work in reducing that, because there was times going by. I mean, you would remember yourself. I mean, Rangers won the league at Rugby Park in 2011, and that was just a disaster. That's like, I mean, it was a complete sellout, and it was just, Rangers fans everywhere. The club sold them home fan tickets. That was a club, it wasn't supporters. They learnt for that, and then the year after, the Celtic three quarters of the ground, and he's obviously hammered us to win the league that time. But there's a whole different atmosphere when Kilmarnock now under the current ownership. There's a lot of community focus, and they've kind of learned for their lessons, hence cutting allocations. And we have had more Kilmarnock fans, and I know a lot of Celtic fans will be listening frustrated, saying you don't want to see empty seats when you could sell them to supporters. I can understand that point of view, but over the course of the season, our home support's risen significantly. I mean, there was periods we played Rangers and Celtic, we would have 1,500 home fans, whereas tomorrow night you'd be talking you're having 5. Well, at the beginning of the season, we were having 5,000 against Rangers and stuff like that. So if it's no Ichi Pichi against them, there's more of us in the ground than Rangers and Celtic. But to actually get back to your question, I think that it's unavoidable. People will always seem to find a way to get a ticket, and I think that will be the case. And I mean, if people behave themselves, then I mean, there's not really much you can do. If folks sit in respect and let's see a game of football, that maybe not be popular with some Kilmarnock fans, but I've been open about it in my own podcast. I've not really got an issue if folk are willing to just sit and watch a game of football. I can understand. Me personally, I don't think I could sit in the opposite, the away stand, the home stand as an away fan. But I know Kelly fans that were in the St Mirren end on Saturday because they're going to get a ticket in the away end. But again, it's all about being respectful, and I do think that it's unavoidable, and that there certainly will be some Celtic fans in the home end.
I remember for the game a couple of years ago at Tannadice when we clinched the league, very similar to this. It was a midweek game, penultimate game of the season. We only needed a point, and I was in the home end for that one because it's the only way I could get a ticket. And folk would hopefully know I would just be going along. I didn't celebrate when Giakoumakis scored. I obviously didn't celebrate, I think, when Dylan Levitt scored an equaliser for United, but I still get hassle from a few folk in a couple of rows behind me, when they obviously realised I hadn't celebrated United's goal. But I just kind of thought, I'm not causing any issues here. I've put money into your club. Obviously, yourselves and Dundee United don't want to be seen to be openly welcoming, Celtic fans to their ground. But I guess if they're putting money in and not causing any issues, then there's not much of a problem. But it's going to be interesting to see if there's many people sticking around after full time. If we do win the league, I guess you guys will be doing some sort of pitch, around the pitch after the game anyway. So there probably will be folks sticking around.
No, that's exactly what we're thinking. And am I right in saying if Celtic now get a thing organised at Parkhead for if you do clinch the title? I'm not sure if that was the case. One of my mates said that.
Do you know more than me?
Well, again, that could be utter nonsense. So sorry for spewing nonsense in your channel if that was the case. But I thought there maybe was something on at Parkhead after the game, which I thought was obviously a bit strange for it being a midweek game and stuff. But I mean, we're only 25 minutes down the road for you. I think that would be ideal. To get, I wouldn't grudge them. I said it in my own podcast. If you win the league tomorrow, why would you not want to celebrate with your fans? But as long as it's only for 5 minutes or whatever over, see off the Chadwick stand or the rest of it, you're entitled to do that. But it's not what you're getting the trophy. Then hopefully you just jump back up the M77. Your players can go out and get a lap of honour. Everybody wins.
I remember that Dundee United game, they were the same. They actually kind of did it at a similar times. You just had the Celtic players all congregated at that end and the Dundee United players just went round the rest of the stadium. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens or if something else. Just while I've got you on, people, I don't know if people are wondering this or not, something I've had asked a fair bit is about the Rugby Park pitch, unsurprisingly. Are you getting a grass pitch? When are you getting a grass pitch? What's the latest?
That's certainly the long-term goal. It's all to do with whether we can get this training ground built, which is actually just no far down the road for me. It's in the way to Crooked Home. It's just a case of trying to get the planning permission, I think, finalised for that. That's certainly where they've identified, and they've said this about getting a spade in the ground by the end of the season and stuff, but that's still not looking likely. So the plan was for the pitch to be here for one more season after this, and then hopefully have a grass park by then. Whether that's achievable or not, I don't know. If I'm being honest, of course, I would rather see a grass pitch. There's no doubt about that. Especially Kilmarnock used to have one of the best grass pitches in the country as well. Especially in the kind of 90s and stuff. We were always renowned for having a really, really good park. So I know supporters at a certain age, that's a kind of bugbearer of theirs. I would still like to see a grass park. There's no getting away from that. But what I will say is I think that it is a cop-out. I think it's a cop-out for a lot of folk to blame the pitch when stuff doesn't go right. It's all cliche, or nobody moans about it when they win. But I mean, last year, Ange, they beat us like 9-1 in aggregate last year in those two games. 5-0 at the beginning of the season, 4-1 later on in the year. Teams can turn up and play on it when things are doing well, but the difference is McInnes has been able to use it as an advantage. A lot of people say we would be lost without that, and a lot of points are heavily weighted at home. But again, I've just went through it. Although we won away from home at the weekend there, I'd still maybe liked a couple more wins, but we're always picking up points on the road as well. So I think it's easy to just say that our pitch is the main reason for it. If that was the case, I mean, Livy wouldn't be relegated if the pitch was such a massive advantage for them, because they've been dead and buried for weeks. So not only officially get relegated at the weekend, but again, I think Ange showed last year. I mean, he absolutely steamrolled us. I think that game in April last year. He were up 4-0 in the first 25 minutes or something like that. That's when I left that after 20 minutes, man. Couldn't bear to watch it. In fairness, I had a Sunday game after it to obviously oversee, but I was like, I'm out of here, man. I was willing to go away, but there was nothing happening there. But so I think that Rodgers is kind of used as a cop-out. But it's interesting to see Rodgers' record on it. I think that, am I right in saying that he's dropped, he's conceded the most points and ties or whatever to Kilmarnock in his time here. I think there was something like that at the beginning of the season.
From memory, I think.
Yeah.
Four defeats.
Aye, because 2 under Clark and 2 this season as well. And obviously, I think there's been a couple of draws in there as well. But so I do think there's a bit of copy. The difference was Ange was 100 mile an hour. And the ball went for a shy, it was straight back in. Whereas a lot of times we were good at making Celtic pretty pedestrian and making them go from side to side. And try to get them crosses in the box, which totally suits us. So if that happens tomorrow night, I'll be very, very happy.
So yeah, that's the Killie lowdown. A big thanks to Callum for giving up some of his time earlier to chat to me. Now, big tributes expected tonight for Tommy Burns. It's the 16th anniversary of his sad passing at the age of just 51. He was, obviously a legend at Celtic. He's also a legend at Kilmarnock as well. And as I say, 16 years since he passed away. The North Curve posted this yesterday, saying, on the anniversary of the death of Celtic's greatest son, our current heroes are on the cusp of closing another epic chapter in our magical Celtic story. Tommy Burns lived for Celtic. Through his immortal example, the fans and team will cross the finish line as one. We kindly ask all fans to arrive early, raise your material as the champions-elect enter the field, and use Tommy's memory to inspire vociferous support throughout. So there will be a pre-match display in the Celtic end that I'm sure will be quite moving and probably add a bit of extra meaning to an already extremely meaningful night. There'll also be minute's applause before the match, featuring obviously everyone inside the stadium, including players, managers, coaches, etc. I remember a game at Rugby Park back in 2018 when the entire stadium got on their feet in the 51st minute to pay tribute to Tommy Burns. So that promises to add even more emotion tonight. It's going to be an emotionally charged evening, I would say, given what's on the line for the team and the fact that it's 16 years since the really sad passing of Tommy Burns. Brendan Rodgers met the media yesterday, and the main comment that got traction you probably have seen was him saying he would be watching Spurs versus Manchester City rather than Rangers versus Dundee. And side note, I really enjoyed the whole Spurs-Arsenal title stuff over the past few days. Spurs fans, plenty of them, probably the majority, wanting their team to lose. I think it's been fascinating to watch, although Ange Postecoglou probably doesn't feel the same way. And it must be weird going from a club with the winning mentality of Celtic to a team like Spurs who, don't win things. So I've really enjoyed that. Brendan Rodgers said he would have been watching that last night rather than Rangers Dundee. Also comments from Rodgers saying we wouldn't have to sell Matt O'Reilly this summer. I guess he kind of has to say that. I still expect O'Reilly probably to move on in the summer window, but I guess that's a topic of conversation for another day. Now, he also commented on the aims to strengthen the squad this summer, and this is quite a lengthy quote, but I think there's a fair bit in here that's interesting. I'm really excited about moving forward and moving into a bright future with the club. This season has been a real challenge and the squad is not as strong as I would like it to have been. What the players have given me until this point has been absolutely brilliant. Our job going forward next year is to be stronger, much stronger. That is something that is well underway. There are definitely positions that we'd like to have finalised sooner rather than later. Ideally, if we can do that, then great. But what's really important for us this summer is getting the level of quality that I want into the squad. That will be absolutely key for the growth of this team. As I've said, the guys in this team have been absolutely fantastic this season, but next season we need more depth in the squad. In my past time here, I was going away to Ross County making 8 changes. I was bringing into that team Stuart Armstrong, Ryan Christie, guys who have shown that they're Premier League quality. I remember going away to Dubai in our training camp, and in a proper game, the second team beat the starters 5-0. That gave me great food for thought then when I came back for the second part of the season. It was a proper football game. That told me the depth that was required, and I think that's something that's definitely required here because we lost a bit of that in the summer, and no doubt that we'll need to restructure that going forward. We've got some fantastic players here and we want to add to that. So he wants to add depth to the squad, but he was also keen to point out that he doesn't just want to add players, he wants to add real quality. So I think we're in store for an interesting summer. We're going to have to replace Joe Hart, that's very obvious. I think surely the club are going to sign a first choice left back, probably a first choice centre back as well. I think, a winger's probably needed. There's a fair chance that Matt O'Reilly moves on, I would say. So, that's another player we'd need to replace. So I think it's going to be a pretty busy summer. I don't think we're going to get away with another season of transfers as bad as this campaign. As I said earlier in the week, Rodgers has effectively won this league title with Postecoglou's group of players. No new signings, no Rodgers signings. Started the game on Saturday, our biggest game of the season, and that's obviously very telling. So recruitment has to be better, but as always, I'm optimistic that will be the case with Rodgers appearing to get his own people in now. In terms of team news for tonight, Yunyu Yang will miss the game. He also missed the weekend derby, although there's a fair chance he didn't even notice, which is a shame in itself. A foot issue he has at the moment. Alistair Johnson said to be fine, despite admitting to having 11 stud marks on his leg after John Lundstrom's bad tackle on Saturday. He should be fine for tonight. It's our first midweek game since February, so will Rodgers shuffle the pack tonight, make some changes? There's maybe a chance, although we've literally just read out some quotes from him saying that the depth isn't there in the squad at the moment. So I kind of feel like we probably won't get changes. For me, the ideal scenario would be to get the job done tonight and probably to make a few changes for Trophy Day on Saturday, rest our key players for the big final against Rangers the following week. And I think a lot of fans would want to see that happen ahead of what is such a big game at Hampden against our rivals. I was kind of thinking of players who could come in tonight. Maybe Adamida would be an option, given that Kelly are quite physical. But then again, Kyogo has a pretty good record, I would say, at Rugby Park. Remember him scoring at least a couple of goals there last season. And elsewhere, like, has Kuhn done enough to start? Not for me. Is Bernardo done enough? Not for me. There's not really anyone in that defence that would come in. Possibly Ralston for Johnston, but I kind of think it might just be the same team as the weekend. It's been the best part of 5 days since the derby, so send that team out again. Hope that they can do the job and really just kick on from, as I say, what was a really fantastic display, I thought, especially in that first half against Rangers. So that's my team for tonight. And yeah, I really hope we go on and win it in style tonight. I don't think it's a given though. Again, the similarities at the point we're at the moment to exactly 2 seasons ago when we had that penultimate game midweek away at Tannadice. Again, we only needed a point at that stage. We only got a point. It was a pretty nervous kind of performance from the team that day, although I think Postecoglou did make some changes from memory. I think the entire front three was changed from the game a few days later, so maybe that had an impact on it. But the team were pretty, I don't know if it was nerves or just a natural letdown from basically having the title secured that night. I would hope we don't see the same thing tonight. It'd be great to actually do it in real style tonight. But to be honest, if it is a draw, I think folk would maybe be a little bit disappointed during the game, but once you see the players celebrating, it's not really going to matter. Tonight's just about getting the title won. And obviously we don't want it to go to the final day or anything like that, even though, you know, we should still be in a solid position to win it, even if the worst did happen tonight. We want to get it sorted tonight, and I think that'll be the case. I think it'll be a tough game though. Killie are a good side, especially at home, and, you know, motivation will be there for them as well to try and beat us 3 times in a season. I doubt they've ever done that. So yeah, I think it'll be a tough game, but I think Celtic might just come out on top. Maybe a late goal, Nakamura-esque type winner to win the league. That would be pretty special. The game is a 7:30 kickoff tonight, so be aware of that. Don't turn your telly on at 7:45 and expect to see kickoff. And yeah, if you're going, enjoy yourself. I'm extremely jealous. I'll be watching here. It's a 4:30am kickoff here, so that's going to be a fun one to get up for. But obviously it's much easier when you know your team could be about to win the league. So wherever you're watching around the world, enjoy yourself. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. By then, hopefully, we're 3 in a row champions. Come on, Celtic.